And blessed to be a part of your day. Kevin Miller in the morning here. And we do wish Max a hearty surgery and a healthy recovery. And we will pray for him. We urge everybody to pray for our friend Max, undergoing a big surgery on Monday. God bless you, Max, and your family. You're a beautiful man. We appreciate you. In addition to that, we don't want anybody to misconstrue what Max said last hour as any threat on anybody. That was just everybody being fired up. So that's the beauty of this program, the First Amendment. We do want to make sure that we're not threatening anybody or anything else that could be misconstrued. We don't need the ISP coming down to good old Kay Millie's house or to Max's house right before surgery. So there are no threats against the governor or any elected official. It's just, again, theater of the mind, folks. So, and if we have offended anybody on that level, so be it. But we love the passion, and we love the ability to speak our minds here. Joining us now is a young man who has been famous as a publisher and an author, a guest on the Alex Jones Show, and now he's running for Congress, talking about the need to protect faith, family, and freedom. Michael Snyder joins us now. Mr. Snyder, good morning, sir.
Good morning, Kevin. Thank you so much for having me on the show today.
How's life on the trail?
Oh, it's been crazy. You know, we've got less than 100 days to go in this election. And, you know, there's 6 of us running to replace Raul Labrador. And what the numbers are telling us, Kevin, is that most of the voters are still completely undecided. In fact, many of the voters don't even know who's running. So all 6 of us have an extremely difficult job to do. We've got less than 100 days, and we've got to let the voters know who we are, what we stand for, why they should vote for us. And so we're literally working 24 hours a day trying to outwork and out-hustle the other campaigns. And internally, we see our numbers are rising. And so this is a very close, very competitive race. And so people need to know they need to go out and vote on May 15th because literally it could be their vote that decides it. That is how close this race is becoming.
Well, how do you see this playing out, and how do you get the word out?
Yeah, well, how you get the word out is you do all the things you do in a campaign. You hit the campaign trail, you do events, you get your literature out there, you do your signs, you do your social media, and all the campaigns are trying to do those things. But one of the things I believe that sets us apart is that we are being very, very proud to brand our campaign a pro-Trump campaign. Well, some of the other candidates don't want to get close to Trump, have distanced themselves from Trump. We are very proud to say we believe in Donald Trump and the direction he wants to take this country, and that message is resonating everywhere. Everywhere we go, people are super excited about this. And we just saw this with the State of the Union, Kevin, where even CBS News, they ran a poll, and they showed that 75% of those that watched it approved of the State of the Union address. Donald Trump's approval ratings are moving up, and so people want, and especially Republicans want, someone in Washington that's going to support the president. And we are the campaign really foremost in this election that is saying we stand with Trump, we're behind the president, and when we go to Washington, we're going to implement his agenda.
Michael Snyder joining us, candidate for Congress here on KIDO Talk Radio. So what do you make of the shutdown that wasn't?
Yeah, well, I stand with Rand Paul because what we've got, Kevin, is we've got a situation where we keep spending money that we don't have. And then this new spending bill, which just literally, I mean, during the break, it said that it's going to add $360 billion to the deficit. And already, since Barack Obama first set foot in the White House, we've been adding about $1 trillion a year to the national debt. Absolute insanity. And it has us on a path to national suicide. This is a fundamental threat to our republic, so we can't keep spending money we don't have. I mean, literally, when you break it down, we're stealing more than $100 million an hour, every single hour of every single day from our children and our grandchildren, literally destroying the bright future they're supposed to have. And yet now Republicans and Democrats have come together and said, let's spend hundreds of billions of dollars more a year. We can't do this. So Rand Paul was right to stand up against this. There were many Republicans in the House of Representatives that voted against this bill. We need to live within our means because we need to get our financial house in order because if interest rates on government debt rose to their long-term averages, we'd already be paying more than $1 trillion a year just in interest on the national debt, and the game would be over. So we're fortunate to have low interest rates right now, but we're starting to see rates creep up, yields climbing. So what we need to do is we desperately need to get our house in order while we can before disaster strikes. But instead, in Washington, I don't know what they're thinking, but they seem to think this party will never end. But a day of reckoning always comes when you spend – we're not spending just a little bit more money than we have. We're spending far more money than we have.
Michael Snyder joining us here. How do you differentiate yourself from, the others on the trail that say they want to follow what Raul Labrador did, they back Donald Trump, and, they want make America great again?
Yeah. Well, it's important for people to look at some of the core issues where, for example, we all say for limited government. Now, what I mean by that is if we cut the size of the federal government in half, I believe that would be a good start. So I go much farther than some of the others. One of the other things that, kind of sets me apart is, on pro-life issues where, everyone in Idaho says they're pro-life if they're Republican, but I'm making a pledge that I will never, ever, ever vote against any bill that funds Planned Parenthood, no matter what else the bill says, including this budget bill that just went through Congress. I would not have voted for that. But for one thing, it dramatically increases spending. But another thing, there's funding for Planned Parenthood in there. You cannot be pro-life and vote for funding for Planned Parenthood. Now, as far as Donald Trump, a few of the candidates have said some good things about it, but what we're doing is we're fully embracing the Make America Great Again agenda, Kevin, while other candidates in this race, for example, one of my opponents has publicly said, and this is slightly crude, but it's safer radio, but one of my opponents has said that Donald Trump, quote, can go straight to hell, unquote. That's what one of my opponents that I'm running against, who says he's conservative, has said about our president. I find that very offensive. So really the only two candidates that have come out and have even tried to brand themselves as a pro-Trump campaign are me and Dave Leroy. And Dave Leroy has kind of backed off on that. I'm very curious as to why, but he's not nearly as strong as that as he was at the beginning of the campaign. But we have gotten very bold in identifying ourselves as the pro-Trump campaign in this race.
Michael Snyder joining us. Kevin Miller in the morning here. Phone number is 580-5436. 580-KIDO if you have a question for Michael. How important is faith to you, sir?
Faith is the absolute core of who I am. And in fact, if you go on our website, michaelsnyderforcongress.com, you'll see on one of the points on the issues page, I say, I'm an unashamed Christian. And if you go back to our founding fathers, our country was birthed out of a culture of Bible-believing Christians. And I believe today America has gotten away from God. We pushed God out of government, out of our schools, out of just about every element of public life. And as a result, we've got a godless government, and as a result, we've got all the problems we're facing today. I believe that America needs to turn back to God and turn back to the values that our nation was founded upon. And so, I've been a Bible-believing Christian. I was raised as a Christian, raised in the church, became a believer in Jesus Christ at a very early age as a child. I've been on mission trips as a young person. I've been, preaching the gospel throughout my whole life. So, and in fact, I've done much more preaching than I have political speaking throughout my life. And so it's very, very much at the center of who I am. And when I go to Congress, it will literally inform every single decision I make because my whole worldview is based on the Scriptures, on the Word of God, on my Christian faith.
Moving on, what do you make of DACA and the Dreamers and what the president's trying to accomplish? If elected, how would you handle that? How would you vote?
Yeah, well, I stand with what the president's trying to do. I think the president's being extremely generous, Kevin, because he's offering the Democrats, hey, we want to do something for these people that were brought here as children, that came here at a very early age. They've grown up in America. They built lives here, and now they want to stay here, obviously. And so President Trump is saying, okay, we can do something for them, but I want border security. And he's only asking for money for part of his wall. He's not even asking for the whole wall. I'd be asking for the whole wall. And I stand with President Trump. We need to build the wall. We need to make sure everyone comes into this country legally through the front door, and that only makes sense. And so President Trump is saying, okay, we'll give the Democrats what they want with DACA, but we want some money for our wall, and we want to increase border security. And so I think President Trump's been extremely generous, and I would support his deal 100%. Unfortunately, the Democrats don't seem inclined to make that sort of a deal.
Indeed, but culturally, where are we in the country today when we've got the illegals that are here, some good, some criminals. You take a look at that poor player and the gentleman that tried to help him in Indianapolis, killed by a guy who had been criminally deported twice, driving drunk, and killed 2 people. And this is going on all across the country and has been underreported.
Yeah. Illegal immigration has caused chaos in communities all over the country. And we need to start with those that have committed crimes. We need to not only deport them, but make sure they never return. And that's why we need a wall. We need a wall on the southern border. We need a physical barrier because these people, they keep coming back time and time again. It's so easy to cross that southern border, as so many have shown. And so we need a wall because for decades we've had this policy where we've left the back door completely wide open for anyone who wants to come in, including drug dealers, gang members, people that want to abuse the system. Meanwhile, our system of legal immigration, the front door, we've made a complete nightmare where it's super complicated, takes forever, it's super expensive, and it doesn't make sense. So we need to reform that, make it easier, and make the process of coming in through the front door make sense. But meanwhile, we need to slam that back door shut, end illegal immigration, so everybody's coming into this country legally so we don't have incidents like we just saw there in Indianapolis.
Indeed. More coming up with Michael Snyder next. Stand by, please, Michael. 580-5436, 580-KIDO. You're listening to Kevin Miller on KIDO Talk Radio. Congressional candidate Michael Snyder with us. Kevin Miller in the morning here. Phone number is 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Let's get back to the trail. I had a chance to catch the Kootenai County event with the Reagan folks up there. Quite an event. You and Representative Perry were going back and forth. She said you kept moving to the left. It got a lot of laughs.
Yeah, that line was when I kept passing the microphone to the left of the moderator when it was her turn, so that was by accident. But, yeah, I mean, but as far as, our politics, I was obviously, extremely conservative. The Coeur d'Alene Press made a very strong point about that. They thought I was too conservative, but I believe that the people here in Idaho want someone that's extremely conservative. And during the debate, there was a clear difference in substance between me and the other candidates, but there was also a clear difference in style, where, you had the other 5 that were more your typical professional politician, and doing things the way kind of professional politicians do them, where, when it was my turn, if people haven't seen the video yet, they can go see it if they go to Facebook, our Facebook page, Michael Snyder for Congress. Just type that into Facebook, and you can see it. It's right at the top, the highlights there, where I was just a straight talker. I would kind of like Trump, just telling people what I believe in, what I stand for. And so there was a huge difference in style. And our campaign's been widely acclaimed as the winner of that debate. We've gotten a lot of new volunteers and donations after that debate. So it got us a whole lot of momentum, Kevin. And we're very much looking forward to more debates and more forums. Unfortunately, what we're hearing is some of the other campaigns, they were extremely hesitant before this event, and now they're going to be even more hesitant to get back on stage with us because they don't want us up there comparing us with the other campaigns, the other candidates, because it's not going to go, unfortunately, very well for them. But for us, we would do a debate or a forum every single night with the other candidates if we could, because that's only going to be good for us.
Let's go to the phones, and we won't go to Mark and Eagle. He's yapping away. We'll get to that in a minute. Mr. Snyder, let's talk a little bit about a question that I have for a lot of folks, and that is North Korea and the idea of, if elected, you might have to make a vote for war.
Yeah, North Korea is a huge, complex problem. The can has been kicked down the road by administration after administration, and now we're sitting here between a rock and a hard place because North Korea is a grave threat, not only to the United States, but the entire world, because we've got a madman, and they're building nuclear weapons. They have nuclear bombs, and now they're building missiles which can reach the continental United States, can, reach all over Asia, much of the planet. So, a madman armed with an entire fleet, eventually, of intercontinental ballistic missiles is a huge problem. But if the issue was as simple as going over there and bombing him into oblivion, we would have done that by now. But unfortunately, it's not that simple, because the moment we strike them, North Korea will use their nukes and we're talking about potentially cities like Tokyo, Japan, Seoul, South Korea. But even if somehow we could locate all their nukes, which we can't, and take them all out, which we'd not necessarily be able to, they also have massive stockpiles of chemical and biological weapons, which could kill millions. They also have one of the largest artillery forces on the entire planet. Within hours of a conflict breaking out, they could literally turn Seoul, South Korea, into a sea of fire, the 10 million inhabitants living there. So and I've gone over this over and over again. I've written about this over and over again. It's hard to see any military scenario that does not end with millions of people dead. And so my hope is that we can find a solution to this issue that doesn't involve full-blown military conflict and millions of people dead, because that would be a nightmare that we haven't seen since World War II at least. So, Kevin, it's not an easy issue. We need to send someone to Washington that understands these things, that understands foreign policy. And so far in this campaign, there hasn't been a lot of talk about foreign policy.
You find that surprising?
I do. I do on one hand, because it's so important. As a member of Congress, this is what you're going to be doing. On the other hand, we have most of the candidates in this race have been focused on Idaho for their whole careers. They've served in the state legislature. They've been in Idaho. So they're not necessarily focused on federal issues, while our campaign is very focused on federal issues and foreign policy and what we're going to be doing in Washington, while others they sound like they're still running for the state legislature or for governor, because they're focused primarily on state issues.
More coming up with Michael Snyder next. First, traffic and weather. And back with Michael Snyder here at KIDO Talk Radio. What have you learned on the trail when you're talking to folks? Anything that has changed the way you feel about things?
Yeah, well, Kevin, there's a lot of anger out on the trail. People, they look at Washington and they see it's broken, and they see fundamental things like the rule of law that needs to be reestablished in this country. So I'm on the trail, and people are saying, Michael, we need to put people like Hillary Clinton in prison. And I completely agree. I've been very bold about that, as opposed to my opponents have been very bold about saying Hillary Clinton needs to go to prison. Some other things that I'm hearing on the trail is that a big theme is people just want the federal government to get off our backs. I'm talking people like, ranchers here up in Boundary County. I talked to a miner yesterday. I was down in Bonner County in the Sandpoint area. I was talking to a miner. He was like, man, if the BLM and the federal government would just get off our backs, we could do just fine here. So they want access to our lands. That's a key issue. And people just want the government to get out of Idaho. They're sick of these federal mandates. And so that is a huge theme that I'm hearing. So when I go to Washington, what we're going to do is we're going to work as hard as we can to reduce the power and size and scope of the federal government, do whatever we can to get the federal government off of the backs of our citizens, restore jobs, restore prosperity, reduce regulations. That's why I like what Donald Trump has proposed. For any new regulation that comes in, we've got to get rid of at least 2. I love that, because that reduces the regulatory burden on our citizens.
Michael, if people want more information, want to get involved in the campaign, what can they do, sir?
Yeah, well, people can go to michaelsnyderforcongress.com. You can learn more about us. We need more volunteers. We've raised up an army, but this is the big push. We need more volunteers. We need more donors. We need more people getting involved in social media. And where we have more updates for the campaign than anywhere else is on our official Facebook campaign page. So if you go to Facebook and type in Michael Snyder for Congress, you can see those debate highlights I was telling you about. You can learn more about us. We literally update that like 3 or 4 or 5 times a day. So those 2 places are the best places to get more information about us. And go to michaelsnyderforcongress.com. People can get updated and learn more about what we're trying to do. And at first, people didn't think we were going to compete with some of the more established candidates. The experts in Boise were saying, oh, yeah, we kind of like Michael, but no, he could never compete. But we are. The numbers say we are. We're the campaign that has the numbers that are surging behind the scenes. Of course, we've done very well in the last couple of KIDO polls. But beyond that, the real numbers behind the scenes, the scientific numbers, say our numbers are moving up. In fact, if current trends continue, Kevin, it won't be too long before we have the best name recognition of any of the candidates in this race. So we're extremely optimistic about May 15th. Even the Coeur d'Alene Press says we're the most conservative in this race. So if people want to learn more, go to michaelsnyderforcongress.com.
Michael, we hope to see you when you're back in the area again.
I would love that. I would love that, Kevin, definitely.
You have a great day, sir.
You too. Thank you so much.
Thank you. That's Michael Snyder for Congress. Your thoughts next. You're listening to Kevin Miller on KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Maggie. And we roll along. Always blessed to be a part of your day. Don't forget tomorrow, Dave and Buster's 4 to 6, 50 for 50. And if you'd like to meet my parents, Pat and Larry Miller, Larry and Pat Miller, they will be there as our special guest. Tea Party Bob and Reverend Bill will be co-hosting the event with yours truly. We hope to see you at Dave and Buster's on Milwaukee from 4 to 6 tomorrow, helping our friends at the Boise Rescue Mission. Let's go to Steve in Meridian with Kevin Miller at KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Steve.
Hey, good morning, Kevin. TGIF. It's a great day. Thanks for the chance to speak. I just was listening to Michael Snyder, and although I don't know what it's like to be a politician, I certainly know what it's like to look at politicians and hear them. And all I could say is, even though he may support a lot of the things I go for, it's difficult to listen to people running for office when the bulk of the conversation is about negative issues, meaning pointing the finger at the other candidates, what they're not good at. And all I could say is it will be refreshing as a citizen of, the United States, as a resident of Idaho, to have people running for office that not only stand for the right things, but also can provide inspiring messages that are encouraging and positive. And so all I could say is, in listening to Mr. Snyder, I would hope, maybe he's tired on the trail or a tough start this morning or something. All I can say is I'm welcoming the time in the future where he or others spend a lot more of their time emphasizing their solutions, not just pointing out what everybody else is bad at or what everybody else has done wrong. And so I'm craving that. It's not just who can push the best bill and get the votes. It's really about who can lead others to higher ground. And so I just want to voice that out as a listener of the show. And I love listening to candidates because you get to hear what they're like. But I want to hear more personality. It's not so much always what you say. It's kind of how you say it. And being whether a Christian or a conservative person or not, I just really want to hear the good stuff, not just the junk. So that's what I wanted to say, Kevin.
Well said, Steve. Well said.
Hey, thanks, man. Have a rocking day, Kevin.
You too,
Later.
brother. Bye-bye. Very well thought out. Liberty Linda joins us now at KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Liberty Linda.
Good morning, Kevin. Wow, another great show today.
Well, thank you.
Anyway, I just wanted to call in and say that I agree with Max regarding having someone come in from another state to audit our state. I just think that sounds like a really good idea.
What? Who would you like? The people from California?
No, I think they would be on the blacklist. No, we had a big X to the no, not have them come in.
Sure.
But, we could pick someone that would be, good to do it, that would be honest. Anyway, I just thought it was a good idea. And he definitely will be in my prayers. Hope everything goes well with him and his family. However, one thing that he did say as to what he said about royalty, George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, and most of our founding fathers were of the royal bloodline. And yet, what did they do? They gave us, we the people, the power here. They gave us a constitution, a power to govern ourselves. So anyway, just want to if he's still listening, let him know that they are of the royal line. So I think that's wonderful of our founding fathers.
Well, I would hope that the folks that are in Boise right now would understand that the people need a break, and you want to have some goodwill, then you have the repeal of the grocery tax. And if the governor, in his last call at the line of scrimmage, wants to veto it, then you put it back to the legislature and say, we're going to override it. It comes down to who you're working for.
I agree. We the people. And, grocery tax, that would certainly help the people here. Many people are having a hard time. And, I think a governor should see that. It would be a great help to the people here. Anyway, so I agree with Max in regard to that. And, you know, I keep hearing that there's something this weekend going on, some big event or something somewhere. I wonder what that is that I keep hearing about.
You see, you're sensing a disturbance in the force.
I think we're having a big party Saturday.
Yes, and we're bringing a cake.
And looking forward to your mother and your father are going to be here, and Dorothy, and not the 3 doggies, but, you know.
No, the Millies won't be there, but yes, the other Millies will.
Yeah, anyway, looking forward to it. Because you deserve it, and, you know, now that you're turning 25.
25 times 2, yes.
Always have to get the math in there. Anyway.
Well, we're going to enjoy seeing you tomorrow.
Well, I plan on being there for sure.
Well, so do we.
And it's always fun. And Dave & Buster's, what a wonderful place to have an event. Great people there, great food, wonderful service. You know, what more can we ask for?
Well, just to see you tomorrow, Liberty Linda.
No, I was going to say, and you, Kevin. So you have a great day today.
You too. Take care.
You as well.
Bye-bye. All right. We're joined by my mom, Pat Miller, here at KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning.
Hi, good morning, Kevin. I just called to invite everybody and ask them not to forget to bring their canned goods or non-perishable items for the Boise Rescue Mission tomorrow when we celebrate your 25 times 2.
Well, we appreciate that. We appreciate you and Dad coming out here to celebrate in 50 for 50. I know you for years have been wanting to meet all the listeners of the Kevin Miller Show. You've told me that for years and years, and now you get the opportunity to do that, and they get the opportunity to meet you, and, you know, you're quite the draw.
Oh, I don't think so. I think it's all about you and Reverend Bill. But I'm thrilled. I can't wait to meet Liberty Linda and some of the other folks that I hear and put a face with a name. I just think it's going to be a fun time at Dave & Buster's.
Well, we're looking forward to it.
Us too. And I'm bringing the cake.
You wanted a cake for everybody.
Everybody needs a cake on their birthday. I mean, you had a little one, but this is a better one. So we're looking forward to tomorrow. I won't keep you because I know there's other people that want to talk to you, but I just thought I'd give you a little buzz and hope everybody joins us tomorrow from 4 to 6 at Dave & Buster's.
Well, Patriot Ray says he'll meet you tomorrow, too. He'll see you tomorrow.
Oh, super. Looking forward to it.
All right. I love you, Mom.
All
Thanks.
right. Love you, too. Bye.
Bye-bye. We go to our great friend, Mike Tracy, joins us at KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Mike.
Hi, Kevin. Happy birthday for tomorrow. I'm going to try to be there with some dry goods and some canned goods. 50 was not a bad thing when I turned 50, and neither was 60. So you should have a lot of fun, and I hope to meet. I'm actually sitting outside the Boise Rescue Mission getting ready to drop some stuff off right now, and so it gave me a chance to pull over, and I'm sitting here watching people drop stuff off. But I wanted to wish you a happy birthday. I really want to get to the party and shake your hand and see Reverend Bill. I love Bill Roscoe. I think he's one of the greatest guys. But there was something that is it Michael Snyder? I'm not familiar with him.
Yep, Michael Snyder is running for
right.
Congress. Yep,
for Congress. He was talking about use of force or voting to go to war. And while we've had the Iraq and Afghanistan war going on since 2002, roughly, I think it's been about 2002, could have been even a little earlier, and it's still going on in both theaters. One of the things that was done early in the Trump administration, a lot of people may have forgotten that Moab, the mother of all bombs, that he dropped, and the intensity of that bomb. It almost had a nuclear explosion kind of look to it. And the technology on that's 13 or 14 years old is when it was revealed. I think it was in 2003 that it first went public. So this president has shown a willingness to use force, and I think that's the question. Going to war, a full-blown war. I mean, actions are being taken without, full declarations of war anyway, and it happens all the time. The Korean War was not really called a war. It was a police action, as a lot of people remember. But anyway, I just thought I'd throw that 2 cents in and wish you a happy birthday, and I hope I get to meet your mom and dad.
Well, we need to get you back on in studio sometime, Big Mike.
I appreciate it, and it'll be fun to watch you turn 50.
Ha! Yeah, thank you, sir.
All right, Kevin, you have a great day.
You too, Mike. Bye-bye.
All right, bye-bye.
Our great friend Mike Tracy joining us. Let's go to Mark in Eagle with Kevin Miller at KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Mark.
Hey, good morning, Kevin. Hey, can I get on a different subject matter rather than talking politics? I've gotten so burned out with.
Actually, we went to you, but you were too busy talking to Ray, and when we had Michael Snyder on.
Well, I didn't want to present it in front of him because of the topic subject. You would have wondered why I was bringing up this type of topic. To this gentleman with what the whole focus was on that particular moment. You know me enough to know that I've been kind of involved with Earth and space science. Being involved with Stanford Research Institute, earthquake prediction, and always have had a fascination with what goes on with Mother Nature and the world around us. I've firmly believe that there are people within our government, whether it be, CIA, NSA, people, officials, high officials in our military and our government, that know that there is something coming down the pipe, as the saying goes, and it's not just here. I'm sure Putin and other high officials in other countries are aware. All the tomfoolery that's going on there in Washington, the media is not reporting things that are going on with nature that are about to have a drastic effect on all of mankind. I've mentioned this website called The Watchers. If you go to thewatchers.news, and I want people to pay particular attention to something I've brought up here on this station. The government has been doing geoengineering. In fact, just about a week ago, USA Today had an article about geoengineering and spraying sulfur fumes into the atmosphere of particles, and this has been going on a lot longer, folks. There are things going on with this earth right now. I have brought up the fact about last year about the Inuit Indian elders has said that the earth has shifted. They sent a letter to NASA on this. And what's interesting about that is you can go to sciencetimes.com right now and you'll see that story, global climate change. The earth has shifted, say, Inuit elders. And it talks about how they had warned NASA about this, that the earth has wobbled out of its normal axis. The Watchers website that's on there right now, when you go to that, you'll see and click on the Earth's magnetic flip and what it means for human civilization. If you click on that story, then click right below on the videos and listen very carefully, folks, to what that person is saying. This would be explain why the governments around the world, they did a doomsday vault. It's called the Svalbard. It's on a Norwegian island off Spitsbergen, Norway.
All right, Mark. That's 3 minutes, brother.
Okay. Well, I guess this is why people don't hear about this stuff, because they don't get a chance to get it out there.
No,
the media covers it up. They won't tell us about
the media is not covering it up.
Not you, Kevin. I understand what you're saying.
I'm with you, brother. If you want to come on sometime and, we'll talk about this entire thing, but, we have limited attention spans and everything else. And when you're talking websites,
that's the problem with humanity. That's the problem with our country. That's why the government has gotten away with things to the people. But just last year, I've got an article. Even state scientists said that the Earth's rotation is slowing down, which will increase the number of great earthquakes around the world. I've watched a record number 6, 7. We just had almost an 8-pointer up in Alaska. About 3 weeks ago? It's increasing. There are things going on that will affect all of mankind, and we're going to see it sooner. The North Pole, they said the magnetic North and South Pole have both been shifting from their position way farther than when it normally wanders in a period of time, and that it's going to cause drastic Earth changes. I suggest people look at this because all the crap going on in Washington is not going to have an effect.
Mark, again, you show
I'll let you go on that.
You show your brilliance in in being a great veteran of talk radio where we talked for 3 minutes and then we said, okay, and then that was another almost minute and a half on stuff that I'm kind of lost on. But some would say that's no big deal. You're always lost, Kevin Miller. Phone number is 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Taking your calls about the issues that matter to you, most notably something that continues to be an issue. And we have to continue to wonder, will there be a repeal of the state grocery tax? And it's making local politicians uncomfortable that you have conservatives like Representative Scott and others saying, let's forget this tax cut and let's get real tax relief here. Are you buying it? We'll talk about it next. Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio. And there we have it. We talk about real change, and we do want to thank David Leroy, Michael Snyder, our friend Tammy for joining us. By the way, coming up, how you can help Preston Sharp. Yes, Preston Sharp, the young man who went to the State of the Union as a guest of the president, is coming to Idaho, and we're looking forward to helping him honor our veterans who have paid the ultimate price. We'll have that for you at KIDOTalkRadio.com. But it really comes down to whether or not you elect people to do our bidding or they want to do their own bidding. And we see this with Representative Scott, Representative Moyle, their disagreement. I think, they're three co-equal branches of government. You have the executive, you have the legislative, and you have the judicial. And Governor Otter has his constitutional duty to veto things, and the legislature has their constitutional duty to override it if that is the will of the people. And I think that if you put it to a vote, people would vote to end the repressive grocery tax. And I would urge you to go to the Facebook of the Idaho Freedom Foundation and watch the interaction between Scott Bedke, Mike Moyle, and Heather Scott. And it will show you how the sausage is made. And the idea that we have the disclosure from Representative Scott about the gentleman, otherwise known as the governor, on the second floor, and Representative Moyle on what he will and won't. Well, he's not the king. Governor's a nice man, and look, he disagrees. Look, when I see him in public, he's always very nice to me. Last time I saw him, I think it was at Albertsons a couple of years ago. But just because someone is charismatic and somebody is, popular, doesn't mean that they're right. And if that is true, that the governor said he's not going to sign it, that it's the duty of the legislature to take it up there. And just like we have in Congress, if you have people that are not going to listen to the constituents, then it's time for people to get together. Now, there's a lot of big money behind a lot of these folks that have been involved in the legislature for quite some time. It's going to take an effort. But I see no reason why we do not repeal the state grocery tax. And this is a heck of a way for Governor Otter to go out. Remember, we had that beautiful gas tax increase. And, the governor, he chooses what he does. He's always invited to come on this program. It would not be a close match. He doesn't see the value of this show, doesn't see the value of this station, obviously. The governor, we've talked to him a few times, and it's like, well, you can tape an interview. No, we don't tape interviews, and we ask you the legitimate questions because we represent the people. We urge him to reconsider. Good morning, Dave. And thank you very much, Ray Amaya. Outstanding job. Hope to see everybody tomorrow. Dave and Buster's. Yeah, and the governor's invited as well. Oh, why not? Good day. God bless, and keep the faith.